You're like a circle that floats around me, keeping me safe and sound. And when I fall, you tied a rope to me. You're blessing me every day. I was down with an illusion, like a sparrow with broken wings. But now I shine with your reflection on me. I'm getting back up on my feet. That you showed up was written in the palm. You are a statement, explode like a bomb. I get to push myself to victory. You make me winner. You cut me loose and set me free. You make me win every way. You show me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day. You cut me loose and set me free. You make me win every way. You show me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day. Yes, I'm the winner, yeah. 'Cause I'm the winner, yes. Am I awake or am I dreaming? So far gone, I won't look back. And when I move, there ain't no stopping me. You're pushing me up to the top. I saw the clouds looking at.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining the Plan to Prosper podcast show. I am your host for today. I am Sharon Campbell, and I want to tell you it is an honor and a pleasure to continue talking about leadership. The month of May is all about leadership. What is leadership? Finding the leadership within you, how to develop that leadership in order for you to thrive and grow, professional and personal. Too often we allow other people to stop our growth and leadership. And we end up being left in a position where we are not growing to our potential for our income or our own self-development. And so what I want to assure you is everybody is not to move with you at all. And it's okay to leave people behind, no matter what part of your life it is. You know, it could be in your family. It could be your friends. It could be people that you work with. If it's not developing you and it's not making you feel good, you have to figure out a way how to move past it. Too often we wait on other people to try to catch up with us or try to accept us or try to make us feel better. And we find ourselves joining other activities, more boards, more things in our life, trying to find that void of leadership inside of us. We don't think that we have reached our full potential. And I want to tell you, you never reach your full potential until you leave this earth. You're always defining who you are every day. You should look for how to become a better me. And that looks for leadership, because there are people in this world. We have 8 billion people in this world, and they are looking for you, really they are, to gain some type of strength from, some validation. Everybody want to be validated. I don't care who you are. You need that sense of validation in your life about something. Parents need children to validate that they're doing a great job. Children need parents to validate them that they're doing a fantastic job. Employees, employers, and business owners, and customers, consumers, all of us crave for that, need that. That's part of being a human. But the other part is developing who you are every day. You know, sometimes you find in your life that people that you may thought was with you, you had no idea what they were saying behind your back. And that it can be devastating to so many people. but you have to overcome that because they have moved on with their lives and left you sometimes wondering who I am and what's my purpose. To know sometimes that you could think you know people. It could be in your family, it could be out your family, it could be friends. You think you know them, and then you later discover that they have been very negative about you. And you've been sitting there loving on them and talking to them and thinking they really care about you. In reality, jealousy and grief and envy has sit inside of them about you. And so you see other people that's sitting around you, they know about this, but they don't tell you that you are the subject of a laugh on the side. Isn't that something? People that you thought that cared for you is laughing on the side about you. So the leader within inside of you will determine what that relationship becomes moving forward. What are you going to do about that? And I think that's so very important to help people develop that and overcome that, for they don't get trapped into feeling bad or self-pity or low self-esteem, self-confidence, not moving forward, or come with a thing. I'm going to show them. You don't have to prove anything to those people. Not one thing. When people show who you are, Maya Angelou said it well. No, that's who they are. One of the things she also said about how people can, you can remember what certain things, but what you're going to always remember is how people make you feel. You're going to forget some things, but what you won't forget, I can't paraphrase it enough, the bottom one was how they made you feel. You're not going to never forget how that person made you feel. And then you got to figure out forgiveness on all of that. How do you forgive them? For you yourself can move on and be whole. And so there's a lot that we can talk about and think about as we move forward. So let's talk about some questions today that I have on leadership. And then next week, we're going to come back and dig deeper into this on a Tuesday night, because it's every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Pod TV, Roku, Fire, Amazon Fire, Plan to Prosper Show, YouTube, and our Facebook and LinkedIn. So let me ask you a couple of questions, and I just want you to just think about these, and we will post these in our social media for you to think about, and then join in. Also, you have opportunity, if you would like to be part of this discussion, send us an email or respond on our Facebook, and we'll definitely reach out to you. So let's take the first question. What does leadership means to you, personal and professional? I want us to take some time and write that question down, and then later on, spend some time thinking about it. Think about what it means to you, and how do you want to improve in yourself in that, and what are the things you want to do in that. Do you need to do some more study in that? Do you need to take a class in that? Or would you just really love to understand what type of leader are you? You can find many models out there that theory people have came up with. They have done a lot of study on people, and you can see, which one you fit into. And what I found out, I fell into a combination of different ones, given where I'm at and what space I'm in. And then some, I found out I can blend them together and they work better for me. And so we're going to talk about and share some of those also with you. If all goes well, we get all of this up to you so you can be able to use it this week. Let's talk about another question is, can leadership be taught? Or is it something one is born with. You have to decide is that is some people that's gifted in leadership and decide to take leadership, or is that something they're taught or born with, or is it a combination? Because sometimes it can be a combination of both. Growth lead to leadership, and so think about that as it relates to you. What are some of the things that you can reflect in your past that you found that you was a leader in, and then you develop that, or did you stop because someone said something to you that paused you? Or well, how about our introvert people? Um, our leaders inside of them, and how do they express that? Or whenever you see someone you may think is loud, you think that there is no leadership. That is an interpretation of them expressing their leadership. And we have all these different cultural dynamics in the world about leaders, around race, around gender, around all the isms in the world. We have to look at that. And I think it's important that we take all of that in consideration as we find out who we are as a leader and how do we develop our leadership skills to make change, to help others that they are struggling with it, develop their leadership skill. Who are some of the leaders that you admire? What are some of the qualities do they possess that you find inspiring? And when I had the opportunity to think about who are the people I really admire as leaders, and why do I admire them? What do they hold? How did they get there? And can I use some of their techniques to develop me? Not to become them, but how do I develop me by doing that? I think that is so important, that we find leaders that we admire and say, how did they get there? Start listening to them on YouTube. Start embracing some of the things they're saying, because everyone, no one is perfect. Okay, no one. But you can learn for so many people, or you can learn from every person, even people that you may not appreciate or like. You can learn that you don't want to be that way. You can learn that you want to be different. I have learned I'm a free spirit loving person, that I love people for just who they are. But I found out that some people don't like that or love that or appreciate that about me. So I have to know that there's a place for everything. And so I just try to really embrace that part of life. The other thing I want to talk to you about is how do you define your, if you're effective leader in this world? Think about the world we're in today and how so many of us are looking for leaders, someone to guide us. Not we're looking for somebody to fix everything, but we're looking for someone to do certain things. All of us do not want to be in politics, right? But we know that we need that structure so we can better function in this world. That the world will be more, that others can have the equal opportunity. More people have a place at the table if we have more good policies around that. And you may not want to be that type of leader, but that's the leader that you want to vote for or engage with or change policies with. So I think that's so very important that we look at that as as who you are. And when you're looking at people in different leadership, do they represent who you are? So the other one is, what role does communication plays in leadership? Are you a good communicator? When people are listening to you, not that they understand everything that you say every time, but they can, some of the stuff resonates with them. You can find some great speakers They can move you, they can make you feel, but after they leave, do they leave you empowered to do something? But more important, do you follow up with that move? So I think there's communication plays a great role in leadership. And it's not that you have to pronounce every word correctly. My goodness, if you watch the news, you'll find out that it's not happening. If you listen to leaders, every word is not pronounced correctly. And sometimes we get so tied up and so hard on ourselves about that. So think about how you do that. How do you balance a leader and being part of a team? Because some leaders can, I think there's different ways. You can have a leader that's so passionate about the project, they become like dominating the project or the team. But and we read that as they're being dominated, but what they really are doing, they're so passionate about what they're doing. They want to get it done. So they passion overtake people's perception of them. And so sometimes you have to step back and say, I'm so passionate. And sometimes you may have to tell the team, I am so passionate about that. So I may want to talk on and on, but it's okay to reel me in, because I see that the potential of us as a team. You'll be amazed at how many smiles and that you may get during that time, because they know they have much passion. And then your passion as a leader can really unite the team as a whole. So don't hold that back, but sometimes you may have to talk to people about it so they'll understand where you're coming from. And how, as a leader, do you handle conflict or disagreement is so important as a leader. How do you think about, how do you do that? That you know conflict is going to occur, but how do you handle it in such a way that you leave people still in a good place, even when there's conflict around? Sometimes you have to pause and say, well, we're not going to do this and answer that right now. Let me do more research on that. In personal matters, sometimes you may say, you know what, I need to maybe to sit with myself to think about that, because I never thought about it that way. And so that takes down conflict, because what you are saying to the person is truly that you at this time want to take some time to hear their voice and respect them on that. And so I want to take a few minutes before we go to commercial to thank Mark Lee, the producer of the show, our podcast, Plan to Prosper podcast show that's aired every Tuesday in 200 countries. I thank you very much, Mark, for the great work that you are doing with us to make sure that we're aired on time. You're patient with us putting the show together, getting the guests when we have guests, fantastic. But Power TV, so very much thank you so very much for making sure that we are on all these different social media platforms to give people around the world the opportunity to hear different voices and different perspectives and engage in this way. So we're going to go to a quick commercial and we'll be back talking about leadership. Thank you. thank you for joining us today. And for those who are just tuning in to the Plan to Prosper show, we want to continue our series in this month on leadership. And so you can also watch us over again on our YouTube channel, as well as Part TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, and Facebook. And there's other networks that Part TV have us on their platform. And so let's continue talking about leadership and what it is and how you can improve that. Today's about just asking questions, getting you to think as we dive deeper throughout this month on this topic. And so let's think about strategies. Have you thought about strategies in a way as what motivate or inspire people to become great leaders or develop their leadership skills inside of them? And I think that people naturally have those skills. It's just developing them and then having the courage to show the world what they are, or have others to listen to you. And the world could be inside your home, the world could be in your business, the world could be in the community. It is, you have to define on what that is. But your world is what you have in your inner quadrant. Because for us, we have people that's right close to us, but you should have 4 different quadrants of people you interact with. And we'll have a show on that will really help you develop your leadership skills on that. So start thinking about some strategies that you maybe need to come up with the development. Do you want to take a class? Do you just want to have bring together a group of people just to talk about leadership and what it is and how you develop it? And sometimes you just bring people together, just have that conversation around that. Can you discuss a time when you had to make a tough decision as a leader, and how do you handle that? How do you handle those tough moments in life as a leader, being true to yourself, but also taking into consideration, even if the person is wrong, how do you help them understand what is going on? Because sometimes between the word listening and hearing, there's a big gap to communication and leadership. So on this question, it always, the best way, how can I put this? Like tough times when you have to make a decision is sometimes I don't make that decision right then. I take some time to think about it. Think about what I want to say, need to say, and should say. When I'm thinking about how, as a leader, this is going to come across a group of people. So that's so important. Then how do you foster leadership in different cultures of people that you're with and around, at work, at home, in the communities? How do you think about who's in the room and how to include them because they're from a different culture? And that's why it's important to learn not just you or your culture, but other people's culture, because we live and work in such a diverse world. With over 8 billion people in the world and over 6.2 billion have smartphones and have smart devices, and you are trying to grow your company or grow yourself, and you in different universities and classes online. How do you do that? And the importance of doing that, the importance of not just thinking about you, but the importance of also thinking about other cultures that's around you. And with so many diversities moving in different spaces around the world, we must take that in consideration. think about this question. How do you handle failure or setbacks as a leader? As a leader of in your home, as a leader in your church, as in your community, in your work, we are not perfect by no means. And so, how do you handle that? Because failure will happen. And sometimes failure is just that you didn't know. And so you was making the decision off of what you know. And then it doesn't work out. Do you keep moving forward? Do you seek guidance? Do you stand still? Or do you resort back to, I'm not going to say anything or do anything? It's really something deep to consider on that. What is your biggest challenge that you had as a leader? And then how did you get to that point? Or how do you manage that? You had a big challenge, and how do you manage moving forward on that? And what was the steps that you used? Again, for me, it is about taking that time to think first, to try to look at all perspectives. And you don't have to give an answer right away to every challenge. Now, many times you do have to respond in a time matter, but don't respond out of anger, because sometimes people, that's what they really want you to do. They say I told you the person wasn't a leader. And so you have to make sure that you're constantly working on you. And there's going to be slip-ups. You're not going to be perfect. But the great thing is you're constantly working on you. And so as a leader in leadership development, that is so important that we always remember that we have to constantly work on us. Let's come up with something else. Oh, great question. What would be your advice to someone, and you're in a leadership role, that would want to understand how you become the leader that you have over your lifespan? And what are some of the traits you like to write down and share with them? Because it's important that leaders share this information in their group, share it in their family, share with the young kids, share with the youth. And as kids grow to become young adults, they are looking for that. You want them to have their own identity, but you'd be amazed at how many of them look at you, at some of the things that they decide to do or not do. And your leadership is built, always watched by someone, whether it's positive or negative. Someone is watching your leadership. So let's think about another question someone gave. How do you create a vision for leadership in your team or at your home or in your personal life or professional life? That was a great question someone sent in to us to talk about, is how do you do that? How do we step back and say, in my home, I want to be a leader, not a dictator, and giving everybody a voice in the home to hear, to see, to listen, to be heard. Because being heard is so very important. People may not agree with you, but at least give them the opportunity to hear. When you stifle people's voices, they may be the one that have the opportunity for you to grow and thrive and move yourself, personal or professional, to the next level. So let's us work on provided the opportunity to hear people. Now, I know some people rambles and go on and on and on. And if you are the type of person that like for people to get to the point, for you can move on to the next phase, then definitely you have to work on your listening skill. But also, how do you redirect people back around to get them to the point of them being able to express how they feel, including making them feel comfortable that you have not embarrassed them during that process. So we can look at that. How do we measure success in leadership? That was a great question someone came up with. Can you measure that? Well, I think in certain situations you can. So let's think about how will you measure it in your personal life, your professional life, your community life, your church life. How do you measure that? Is it that you can measure success in leadership by becoming a person that, let's take me for instance, that I join a church. Okay, I'm in the baby stage, but now I join a committee. Now I'm with a team. Now I move for the committee and going to church, going to my groups, learning. Now I'm in leadership. I had that group of people in now. So you can measure it that way, but look at the time what it took, what I put in to get to that position to be now over the group. It is I studied, I asked questions, I showed up, I learned, I responded, I was able to create activity. What have you done to do that? So that's one example. The other one could be as a parent is guiding your child from elementary school into high school, but into college. Because kids will leave home and they will leave you behind. And the dynamics of that relationship can be a give and take on each way. And so, how do you be true to yourself, but also provide them the space to become the leader that's inside them? So, what do you think about this month? I would love to hear from you. Plan to Prosper podcast. Definitely would love to hear from you about leadership, how we can become better leaders on on all the platforms that we're on, and then how you can become a part of that, and what we can do to help better our communities and our world and our views of thinking as leaders. And we would like to hear from people in their voices because we believe that we can only be better when we listen to others and we allow them to be heard and we be in the receiving end of listening on leadership. That sharpens everyone across the board to opportunities, to growth, to help develop people in so many different areas, to give people the opportunity that they can join a organization or community group that they wanted to, but they weren't for sure how to do it, and where they were, what space they could place themselves in, or become a leader and beside yourself to lead you. Just you doing work just for you to reach your ideal education, your ideal health and wellness, what your ideal voice inside of you to say things that's so very important to you in the world. Okay, how do you find people that can help you do that? How you can not so much copy them or duplicate them, but use some of the tools that they have to become a leader. And how do you do all of this and not lose you? Because you are a leader to somebody. You never know who's watching you, who's paying attention to you, who's looking at you. And I think that we owe it to ourselves to continuously build upon our strengths and our weaknesses and find opportunities in that to change the world. Thank you so very much for joining us today on the Plan to Prosper podcast. We'll be back next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Again, it is an honor and a pleasure to talk about leadership with you. Have a fantastic afternoon.